Now this is the mid-course feedback for Section 2 Sparta, Part 2. This is the question D. With reference to the source and other sources, explain the role of Spartan women. So this is the 10-mark question. Again, I've used Joe's response because it was quite good. I'm not saying it's a perfect response, but it's good to see what someone else in our class is doing in regards to these questions and what they can do under exam conditions. So I've broken this up again, like before, with Pompeii, with different colour coding. Source provided, so the source that you got given in the exam is in blue. Other sources used are in purple. Own knowledge provided is in yellow. And most importantly, this question is, if we have a look here, explain. It's an explain question, which means relationships, and it means cause and effect. In this case, it means relationships. So what was going on for women at the time, and how does that impact on their relationships, or on their role in Spartan society? So that's most important for this sort of question, and that's going to really differentiate the top marks there. Alright, Spartan women played an indispensable role in Sparta. Their main function was to bear Spartan children, Xenophon, and raise them to become fierce warriors. Plutarch tells us that they trained children not to be frightened of the dark or to be prone to ill-bred fits of temper or crime. The role was significant as it ensured men would be raised by healthy bodies. Plutarch. Here he refers to a woman's education which allowed them to play significant roles in society, such as bearing children so they may die for Sparta. So here the whole role of women in Spartan society is outlined, and then we're going to look at how their education allows them to fulfill this role, which is what the question is asking you to do. Women's education began at the age of 7 and aimed to develop a strong and healthy bodies. At the age of 7 they would be taught discus, running and wrestling, and trained with the paides of the agogi. Their role here was to produce rivalry to motivate the paides to train harder. At the age of 12 they were taught extensive literacy skills and to sing and dance. This ensured that they would play prominent religious roles. Can you see how that links back to the question? Such as performing at festivals including the High Cynthia. Their religious roles also included sacrifices to Artemis Orthia for their daughters upon marriage. Finally, at the age of 18, they were subject to a skill and fitness test. If they passed, they would be assigned a husband. Xenophon and Plutarch explained their role in marriage, stating that it began with abduction. However, modern sources believe that this was symbolic. Plutarch explains that she would have her head shaven and would wear a chiton to ease the male into sex with females. This was important in increasing fertility. Xenophon. Women also played an indispensable role in land ownership and inheritance. This was because customary dowries, the source from Aristotle, respect of a woman's suitability to a man. Originally, as explained in the source, women could not own land, only inherit it. However, this changed during the classic period with what Aristotle in the source described as faulty laws. This allowed women to play a significant role as managers and owners of estates instead of just heiresses, Aristotle. Subsequently, this prompted Aristotle's exaggeration. Nearly 2/5 of the whole country is held by women, source. Hence, it is evident that women played multiple significant roles in Sparta. So the question, if we have a look, it keeps going back to what the role is. What is going on for women? What are they doing in that society? And how does that link back to their role in Spartan society, which is to be religiously prominent, to inherit land. They played an economic role in terms of the fact that they could inherit land and what that meant for marriage rights. And also the big role, which is to breed Spartan children and strong, healthy Spartan men to die for Sparta. So it is incredibly important that you're addressing all those different roles and that you're doing it clearly and that you're using the source and other sources. So this was about 400 words, and it could have been a little bit longer, but it probably didn't really need to be much longer than this. One thing it didn't do, but it didn't detract from it because it was quite a very strong response, was it didn't mention Helot women or Perioiki women. Now, not many people did that, and that's something you need to think about. Okay? Remember, explain means relationships and cause and effect. In this case, it's relationships. You can't just say what women did. You need to link it back to the role in society. Most people had a reasonable attempt at this, but not enough depth was shown. There was a lack of specific detail in responses and reference to your own sources. Many of you just ignored the source, just completely ignored that the source was there. Now that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous, and you need to fix that up for me, please. There were far too many generalizations and not enough specificity. For example, Spartan women cooked and cleaned. That's a little bit ridiculous as well. You need to go back and you need to make notes. If you said something silly like that, go back and fix it for me, please. And not enough other sources were used. Okay, so hopefully that helps. You need to go back and do that question again, I think, some of you, because it's a distinct possibility of coming up in this year's HSC. Okay.